Welcome back. 10 a.m. may well have been a turning point for the bulls. We saw the markets take a plunge from the opening high, and sometime around 5 to 10, the markets have clearly turned around. So as you can see, Nifty, and it's even perceivable in the Nifty Bank, you can see that smile. The Nifty Bank will also show that markets dipped, and then thereafter we have seen the buying re-emerge. So this must be a more considered buying, and therefore perhaps more lasting. Let's wait and see. L&T up 7%, L&T up 6%, ICICI Bank, Bajaj Finance, HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, most of the banks are up about 4 and 5%. But among the banks, the one that's risen most sharply actually is Bandhan Bank today. Bandhan Bank is up 5.5%. On that note, let's invite Mr. Chandra Shekhar Ghosh, the Managing Director and CEO. Well, Mr. Ghosh, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. The first is the question that is troubling investors most. A moratorium of 71% has been claimed, and you said in your post-results conference that MFI consumers or borrowers have almost 95% have asked for the moratorium. Would there be a fear that many of them will default?
This is a very different the views. If you see that the business model, what is the customer base of us, the microcredit? Of course, 64% of my book is a microcredit. This customer is not asking moratorium to us.
Okay.
We are given the moratorium to them because as per model, we have been going to their doorstep to collect the installment.
Okay.
But because of the lockdown, we cannot go or they cannot come to us. For that reason, we are declared it as a moratorium. If I say that another 2 points you can understand, these people business is running is good in the specific on microcredit because their business is a basic goods supply and a local supply chain. They are used on that.
Okay.
And they are agriculture and allied is a 50% of my borrower. Agriculture production has come very good. They have the money. And the food and food processing is another 20%, which is that this lockdown period also people have need in a food and food processing goods on that. So 70% people business running as usual on that, even they better on that.
Okay.
But they cannot be reached to my office. I cannot be go to their doorstep because of the lockdown. So we have stopped it not to give the installment during this lockdown period.
Okay, so that's excellently, so that's very well explained.
I would like to mention on that.
Sure, go ahead.
79% of my microcredit borrowers, they have the average 3,000 rupees deposit in my bank.
Okay.
And single amount I have not yet deducted because that is their reserve. If I like to take it as an installment, the 4 installment I can be taken immediately on that.
No, I got your point, sir, and that's extremely well explained. This is not because of stressed borrowers, but because your collectors are not able to go. And I think that is very important for investors to understand, and maybe they understood. And that's why you are seeing this recovery in the share price since early morning. The chances are that the Prime Minister and now the Finance Minister will announce something to help the MSMEs, to give them additional credit, which could be guaranteed. All those are being discussed. Will that benefit you? I mean, go ahead.
If I say that is my microcredit sector, if my microcredit portfolio, I have enough liquidity in the bank to provide the liquidity if some customer have a need to run their business. So I am ready on that. At that point of view. But if you say that the other perspective on that, the MSME segment or other microcredit institution, they are not getting the liquidity from the system. So that can be helped to them very well to provide the liquidity in the time of this.
Mr. Ghosh, sir, again talking about the future, I see a very sharp rise in provisioning, and I guess you're creating a buffer if this gets very, very difficult. So give us some sense. The traditional wisdom tells us that MFI borrowers actually don't want to default. But in this case, unless there is some sort of an income scheme that comes in money directly into the hands of those at the bottom of the pyramid, isn't there a higher chance of defaults for Bandhan Bank?
I give it that this is a very different scenario. And this scenario we have not faced earlier on that. The people have the money, people cannot take the installment. So in that sense, if I go to this, the last couple of incidents happened in the country for the microcredit industry. Demonetization time, we saw that the Bandhan have been lost 0.4% NPA, which are 90 plus DPD. But the rest of the industry, 5.5%. If I go to the GST time, 90 plus DPD, 1.5% in Bandhan, and 9.9% is the industry. If I go to the farm loan waiver, very different in August of 2017 in UP. And that time, 90 plus DPD, Bandhan have been lost to the 4.6% in that state, and the rest of the industry, 14.3%. Cyclone on Fani, that have been 1% I lost, and rest of industry 6.5. And recent disruption in the Assam, we see that the 90 plus DPD, Bandhan have been lost 3.1%, rest of industry 10.1%. I have given that the two things in here. The one type of incident which is naturally has come, and another type of incident which has created some of the people on that. So if it is a natural calamity, loss is very low and compared to the created by the people. So this is the incident, this is a natural incident, and compared to the Fani time, they have been lost their asset, their business, their house, and everything. After that, also my loss is a 1.5%, 1%. If it is say that the Fani. But in this time, they have not lost their house, not lost their business, not lost their capital. Only they are very restricted to not to come out from the home or business where they can be like to transact more on that. So this time we feel that there is a loss will become aligned with the natural calamities, which is 0.5 to 1.5 extreme it will become on that. As on today on that. How quick lockdown will be open, on the basis of that it will be started.
Okay.
I talked to 95 to 97% of my borrowers in the time of lockdown, and everyone have the confidence on that. Sir, give the time to lockdown open. I have not lost the money from my hand. I have not withdrawn the money from your account.
Okay.
Everything with us. We are only waiting for that the lockdown open.
Okay.
After the lockdown open, 4 to 6 weeks, give the time, will be fully normalized.
Okay. Mr. Ghosh, was there any worsening of asset quality in Assam? Did more people default?
If you see that the Assam portfolio as on March, what I say that the very good way have been picked up, and collection efficiency rate has come. Total the bank is a 98.6%, and the other than Assam is a 99%. Assam has come to nearly 94-95% on that.
Okay.
So, but if you see that in the last 2 weeks, we have been started some of the transactions they are doing on that. Some disbursement also will be started little bit. Who are nearby of the branch, they will be come to transact and do it. And we see that the Assam response is higher than the other states of India. So I see that they are now coming to the normal form of that.
Okay. So finally, did RBI come back to you on the promoter holding level? You've brought it down to 60%, right? Or 61%. You are still under obligation to bring it down to 40, or will they give you more time or allow it to remain where it is?
This is maybe, this is a situation, you know that how it is happening on that industry point and the country point on that. So I have been not in a comments on that, but this is not, but we are trying based on that to compliance with the RBI.
Okay. All right. We will await word both from the regulator and from you when things change. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Mr. Chandra Shekhar Ghosh. So it looks like that is still a conversation that is happening between Bandhan and Reserve Bank. Chandra Shekhar Ghosh holding back his comments on the issue. We have to take a break. On that note, we are coming back. There are more results that we will analyze. Sterlite Technologies, Anand Agarwal joining in.